amino acids. Okay, so what does that tell you?
Basically impossible.
Basically impossible, right? So what else? What does that tell you beyond that? Beyond that, what does that tell you? Why is this important? Why did the scientists, for example, like Fred Hoyle, why did they take their time out of their lives to go and calculate this probability? Yeah.
Because even like if you have twins, they're still different, and so they want to know what makes me and Sulu different.
You want to know why it makes you different?
Yeah, like what are the chances that Sulu could be another carbon copy of me, or me being another carbon copy of Sulu?
Right. So what is that? How does that help?
To show that it's beyond human capacity.
And beyond that, not just for the scientific work, but the reason why they actually calculated it was to show that those people who are making a claim that life originated by chance and coincidence say, well, is it a rational position? This is the question I asked you before. Is it a rational position? Is it a scientific position? Is 1 in 10 to the 950th power out of a chance, is that considered scientific? Right? Because what is science? If you do an experiment 100 times, 1,000 times, and 999 times it comes out one way, and one time it comes out the other way, are you going to choose that, say that scientific, well, we're going to go with the one that came out the one way? Is that science? It's not science. Yeah.
I have a question. So for the amino acid, it's 1 in 10 to the 950th power, but is that for every single amino acid?
That's for the average amino acid.
Okay.
The average amino acid, yeah. So
each
each amino acid has to be formed, and then they're going to form a protein, and then the proteins are going to form the cell. So the numbers just go beyond it, you know. Yeah. Okay. So now, this is why Isaac Newton said. The reason why I'm quoting Isaac Newton is because if people claim, and people always claim that this is the position of science, if you look at scientists in the 3 eras, you could say, I'm just talking from a Western perspective, in the 3 eras of science, you'll notice that the most famous, name the most famous scientist, I'm saying of Western civilization of the ancient times. Who can name the most famous scientist of the ancient times? He's not that old. Of the ancient times. Aristotle. Alright? Aristotle. What was he saying? He was saying that each and every single thing you observe in the earth, you have to attribute it to an intelligent being. You have to attribute creation to an intelligent being. He was taking the same position. So fast forward past the Middle Ages, because nobody wants to hear what a Muslim scientist has to say, generally. So we're going to fast forward and move to Isaac Newton. Okay? Isaac Newton said, I'll give you the whole quote, he said, don't doubt belief in the Creator, because He is among those things which cannot be rationally attributed to coincidence alone in directing this universe. Fast forward to where Isaac Newton's physics are replaced with Einsteinian physics. Albert Einstein, like he said, was known as the most famous scientist. He believed the same thing, and he said, my religion consists of a humble admiration of looking at the creation, looking at the certain effects in creation, and admiring that. So he had the same belief as well. Even though he may not have been a Muslim, he may not have been a Christian, he may not have been even a practicing Jew in the sense, but in the fundamental question about what we're talking about, he had the exact same belief. So if we're talking about being on the side of science, that's something to consider. So when you think about, here's the problem. When you think about all the parts of the body that aid in breaking down food, you call it the digestive system. When you think about all the parts of the body that aid in fighting off disease, you call it the immune system. But when you think about the entire world, the entire universe that's functioning according to certain laws, that has a certain design, a certain order, a certain balance, a certain harmony, why is it that people are hesitating to make the same conclusion and say, well, this is an organized system, it must have some design? Do you think it was just thrown together randomly? Why are people thinking that way? What do you think one of the causes could be? There are many causes. Yeah.
I think like pretty much after the Catholic Church kind of like imposed all of it, like its will on here say, like, we're going to torture you, we're going to exile you. Like, rather than, like, if they would have said, oh, we welcome this, like, furthers, you know, humanity's cause, we're, like, further proving the existence of God through science, something like that, I think it'd be a lot more accepting, but I think this is just, like, the backlash. Pretty much, everyone's pissed off at religion because of, pretty, like, I've heard the Catholic Church ruined it for everybody, so to speak. Because everyone has, like, this, like, misconception of believing in God to be against science because the Catholic Church was against, like, all these discoveries.
So the Catholic Church has had a big role, yes.
That's specifically within the Western context. And then also just in terms of Christianity, irregardless of that, there's still a lot of things in Christianity or Judaism that doesn't play true with science. So for instance, the whole idea, like the creationism and all those things, like that Peter, like 50,000 years old or whatever that number is, like those things are not compatible with science. And obviously the context.
Good, thank you. Alright, so we'll move to the next. Discovering the purpose. Now, I believe God is the creator and the designer of all of this. He's the only one that can tell us the true purpose. And that's because scientists, philosophers, and even mystics, they're prone to error. So their theories are changing, the models are constantly being revised. Now, the Quran is just one book out of many that have been sent to us so that we can understand what it's all about, what the purpose of life actually is. And what it tells us is that life is a test. Now some people complain, they say, well, why would God create a world in which there is evil and suffering? This is a common argument that people make. And they say, well, why would God create such a world where there's so many problems, where there's people are dying and